Well, hello, and welcome to our front yard garden. This is episode number 9 on April 12th, 2025. Beautiful Saturday morning, crystal blue sky, and it's a little on the cool side, about mid-50s right now, but it's going to go up into about the mid-60s. We've had rain the last few days, and the garden is looking really good. So we're going to get started here in just a second. As always, we start with our mailbox bed, and we usually start at this time of the year with our clematis. If you've been watching these videos, it's been kind of a saga. Usually our clematis is very healthy and very vibrant this time of year. Lots of flowers, and this year it's kind of struggling a little bit. If you look closely, the leaves are kind of curled up. It did have a little bit of a bug infestation. I think it was aphids or something along those lines. Sprayed it extensively with 7 pesticide to try to kill those off. And I think the bugs are largely gone now. I don't really see any evidence of them, or very minimal. But I think the damage was done. The plant really is not, or the plant leaves are not really coming back. However, there is some new growth, and we're seeing some buds. So I think we will get some flowers. They might be a little bit delayed over what we usually see, but I think they're going to do well. We do have a second clematis, but something has happened with that in the past week. I don't know what. It looks like it has died off very, very abruptly. So I'm not sure what caused that. We're going to have to get a new one, and we may have to end up having to replace this one. This one's been here for about 5 years now, but normally it has a lot more growth than this. So yeah, I think we're going to have to do some wholesale work on the clematis here. Meanwhile, we have other things in this garden. Up here, iris is coming along. Not quite ready to bloom yet, but then we have a number of lilies, Asiatic and oriental lilies. I think maybe some stargazers up here too. And then we have this one rose which has just struggled mightily. Just doesn't like where it is. It tends to struggle with black spot, and yet it does every year. It puts out at least a couple really nice lavender flowers. So once it does that, it may be finished for the year. I really am not sure. We have a few other things in this bed. Right now it's not looking real good. We're going to get it mulched, which will help. Got a lot of weeds growing here, and then even some snapdragons. I don't remember actually planting those, so those may have come up just from wind-blown seeds, which we've had several other places in the garden. I have sprayed for weeds here. You can kind of see some of that has died off, and then I've got it paint sprayed where I want the mulch to go. So again, we have a lot of work to do in this bed this year. Normally we have a lot of vinca coming up in this area. They're usually a little bit later when they come from seed. My wife Jenny is doing some seedlings right now in the back porch with vinca, but they usually take several weeks to germinate. So that'll be kind of a midsummer addition color-wise, but they generally do very well once they get going. Now up here, similarly, we've got spray paint where we want mulch to go, but this bed is for the most part kind of filled in. We have the creeping phlox, which peaked a couple of weeks ago. It's just sort of gradually settling down. We have still some of the remains of vinca from last year. We're trying to see if any of that will redevelop, but so far nothing. We have a lot of weeds back in here. I don't know the name of the weeds. I'm not a weed expert, but I have sprayed those, and I'm hoping that that will help to take care of those. We do have a nice lavender flower here. I don't remember offhand the name of this one, but it has done very well in this bed. It's a spring flower. It'll end probably within the next couple of weeks, but for right now it looks really good. And then of course the jewel of this bed is the petite knockout rose, just covered with buds. It looks like it's doing a little better than it did last year. I think this is at about 2.5 feet. This is probably about as big as this will get. They really don't grow big, but they do typically have a lot of flowers on them, and this is no exception. So we should have a lot of color here very shortly. We've got our dianthus over here doing really well, still kind of peaking. And you'll see some dead weeds here that I've sprayed. We just haven't gotten back to pull them all out, but more dianthus here, some lilies coming up. So this bed is kind of at a transition phase between early spring and late spring. We have tulips over there that are finished up. Climbing rose here, this generally does very well. And we've got some buds coming out, so we should get some color out of this before too long. Lots of iris, not necessarily blooming yet. We've got a couple coming up that are starting to bloom, but really the exciting thing right now is the clematis here. They're doing a lot better than the climbing roses behind them. Although the climbing roses do have a few buds on them, so we'll get a little bit of color there. But these clematis are generally very, very, what I would say, robust. They put out a lot of buds, a lot of flowers. These lavender colored ones, and so that's going to be really enjoyable. This is the one iris that's doing well. It's got one that kind of outgrew its stalk. So I'm going to try to help get that up. Really pretty bearded iris. Have a lot of those. We're going to be seeing those more later on. And then our hydrangeas here, purple and, or not purple, but blue and pink ones. Those will be starting to flower probably in another month. They're just getting their buds started. But I do need to do some trimming here. I do see some rogue trees growing up through all of this that need to be cut back. And then over here, our little citrus grove, kind of struggling. We've got two of the smaller ones that I got just in the past year or so. They're covered with buds, and so we may get, we'll see, but we may get some we'll get some flowers. We may actually get some lemons later on. Haven't had a lot of success with that though. Every time they get more than maybe half an inch in size, they just fall off. So that's a problem. I got my orange tree here, really struggling from the cold of this past winter, but it has never put out a single flower so far, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then this lemon tree over here, been growing for about 4 years. Again, struggling with the winter, but it hasn't really put out anything, so I'm not overly concerned about it at this point. And then over here, some of our little shade flowers. This one, I don't know the exact name of it, but it looks very much like a lily of the valley, except that it's lavender color instead of white. Very fragrant. They do well right about now, early April, for probably another couple of weeks, I would say. And then our ajuga has already peaked. It's starting to decline a little bit in color, unfortunately, but those were beautiful while they were out. Also over in here we have more hydrangeas getting started, and then our there we go, our viburnum. I've said this last week, our viburnum put out far fewer flowers this year than what it has in the past, and I'm only guessing that it's because of the cold winter, but I really don't know. The plants themselves continue to grow. They look very healthy overall. The leaves look great, but we're just not seeing a whole lot of flowers this year by comparison to a typical year. And we got some lilies. Over here, Jenny put these in. I think these are stargazers. Actually getting some buds already, so maybe by the end of the month we'll have some actual flowers. Same thing here. She was putting these in our first episode back in mid-February. It's been 2 months ago already. And we got some glads here that she was putting in at the same time. Those will give us some flowers probably in another month or two. Over here, again, more of a spring garden. We've got irises, a number of different types. We have some smaller Dutch irises, and then the usual bearded iris. We've got hostas through here, and then more viburnum. Only, what, five tufts on this particular plant, but they're huge. They're, probably about 8-9 inches across. Absolutely gorgeous. I just wish there were more of them, and maybe next year we'll get that. This plant only has one flower on it. This one has 1, 2, 3. So yeah, definitely about half of what we're used to, maybe less than that. Meanwhile, though, the azaleas are doing really well. They bloomed last fall, and now again. These light pink ones are really kind of the dominant color right now, and they're looking really healthy. And more irises back in here. We've got one little hydrangea there, which will probably bloom a little bit later in the spring, and then our big grove of knockout roses here, just starting to open up. We're seeing a few flowers, and that by next week they should be fully in bloom. When you look at all the buds here, there are hundreds of them, so we should have some really nice color. I wasn't sure how these were going to do. They didn't look all that healthy. The leaves didn't look all that healthy last year, so I really wasn't sure if they would come back in large numbers this spring, but so far they look really, really healthy. I apologize for all the coughing and sniffling. We have had a terrible allergy issue this year. It's usually just for about a week. This year, so far, it's been about 3 weeks. A lot of pollen in the air, even with the rain that's come through. You would have thought that would flush things out, but so far it's wreaking havoc on my allergies and a number of people that I know. Now here we have our butterfly bush. I cut this way back from last year. It was just growing way out of control, and it looks much healthier now. So we're looking forward to some nice flowers later on. Over here in our oval bed, we have starting off with some little purple phlox, doing really well, and then our grape hyacinths just kind of finishing up. They've turned primarily to seed now. And then our candy tuft over here doing really well. And some more irises. We've got one big rose. This isn't really a climbing rose, it's more of a tea rose. But that particular plant has done pretty well. It usually puts out a fair number of flowers every year. We've got a lot of different things in this bed. We've got daylilies, irises, regular lilies, and then of course down here are big knockout roses, pink, bright red, and then kind of a melon color, and that one's doing pretty well. I keep forgetting to pull this off. This was a sort of a rogue morning glory that grew up on the plant last year. Just need to pull that off. And this bed still needs a fair amount of work. We put in some buds, or not buds, but bulbs back in the spring. They're coming up slowly. Got these glads here. Hopefully they'll give us some color to be a nice little cutting bed. And we've got some lilies. Got a lot of monarda here. This will bloom in another month or two. Bright red flowers. But everything kind of has fallen together. It's a tough garden to work with. This big knockout rose here has sort of fallen over to the side, and it's getting in the way of a lot of the lilies. So we've got some work to do here. A lot of cleanup yet to do in this spring. It's that time of year, and you know, you get to, when you have a big garden, you get to it as you are able to. But you'll see more in the backyard. That's probably where I've done the majority of the cleanup so far. So that's it for this week. Lots going on, a lot of things changing. Again, we're right on the verge of some big breakouts of color with these clematis and some of the roses. So stay tuned with us every week, and we're going to do our backyard video next. So for now, I hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next time, happy gardening.